Welcome to another episode of the Ginger ROAMance. Here, you'll hear anonymous stories from travellers all over the world. Real submissions from real people. Tales of connection, romance, passion, heartbreak, friendship, and love in all its forms. Because every kind of love deserves to be told. This week's episode is called What the Storm Gave Me, from Darwin, Australia. I travelled to the edge of Australia to outrun my past, and in the rain, I found the life I was brave enough to stay for. I didn't go to the top end looking for love. I went to outrun my old life. I was chasing distance from endings, from expectations, from a version of myself that no longer fit. I told people I wanted adventure, fresh air, space to think. But the truth was simpler. I needed to leave before staying broke me. I went north to Darwin, to sweat and storms, and skies so big they made your worries feel temporary. The top end doesn't ask who you were, only who you are now. I found routines that didn't belong to anyone else. I let the ocean take pieces of my old life from me at dusk along the shoreline. I was learning how to be alone again. Not lonely, just unclaimed. And then, in the most ordinary way possible, everything began with a Facebook post. Someone in a community group asked if anyone felt like a coffee at Nightcliff. I nearly scrolled past it, but I didn't. We met with the ocean behind us and coffee between us. It was meant to be casual, two strangers killing an hour. We talked about life, about why people come north, about the strange freedom that comes with starting over where no one knows your story. Somewhere between the first sip and the last cold mouthful at the bottom of the cup, something shifted. Not attraction, not clarity. A quiet awareness. The kind that makes you feel like the world has shifted a fraction of a degree. The build-up arrived the way it always does. Air thick with waiting. Skies stacked upon themselves. One day, she suggested a drive. I said yes, without asking where. We drove past the edge of the city, past the last service station, past reception, past sensible. The road shimmered. Floodplains stretched forever. We talked about the real things, the ones you usually save. The silences didn't feel awkward. They felt earned. At a lookout, as the storm finally cracked open the sky, warm rain poured down in sheets. We stood there laughing, in wet clothes and red dirt, hair plastered to our faces, breathless and bright in that sudden release. And then, without planning it, without words, our hands found each other. Just for a second at first. A soft touch, fingers warm, unsure, undeniable. The rain blurred everything else. The world shifted on its hinge. The air felt charged in a new way, like the earth had exhaled and taken us with it. Nothing dramatic happened that day. No confession, no kiss, no promises. Just the quiet beginning of everything. And with that beginning came the rest of my new life. A new job, a return to study, a new home. At night, with frogs and insects stitching the dark together with sound, I lay awake thinking how strange it was that I no longer felt like running. I had come north to escape my life. Instead, I had found stillness, connection, a pause that felt like breathing again. And only later, much later, did I realize what the pause was making room for. It wasn't just a new chapter. It was love. Not the loud kind, the steady kind. The kind that grows quietly while you think you're just surviving. The top end gave me back my breath. And somewhere between Nightcliff and the open road, without fanfare or fireworks, love found me when I had finally stopped running.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you're following along to keep up to date with weekly stories that will inspire, entertain, and maybe even make you fall in love with the idea of love itself. Got your own romance story and want to be a part of the Ginger Romance community? Check the notes for details on how to submit your own.